Hello and welcome to Bricky's Every 40k Faction Part 1, Part 2. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this video so far, and thanks for joining me on watching the second part. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Lego City.
The Sisters of Battle of the Adeptus Sororitas, if that's how I pronounce it correctly, is an
Look at this
all-female
pants.
group of battle sisters going through the ecclesiarchy section of the Imperium. The
So these are
is,
the
of course,
battle
the church.
nuns.
This is, imagine a
Nuns with
private
guns.
army of the church.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
it is. The sisters are an extremely zealotous force, and they take this to a full extreme. They believe in three main things: faith, martyrdom, and fire. Through the bolter,
fire.
the flamer, and the melta, the Sisters of Battle are extremely potent at taking out chaos and heretics. Mainly heretics, because as they are a fighting section of the ecclesiarchy church, that's the big thing they want to kill. Any form of heretic will face the Emperor's justice through those three main
Filthy
weapons,
heretics.
the bolter, the flamer, and the melta, and they will do so with extreme prejudice. Literally. They are the closest things we have to nuns in space, and I'm talking hardcore nuns. They carry holy fire
look at that
on their
backpack.
backs. They have holy books and sigils all across their armor. Their main battle tank is a fucking pipe organ missile launcher. They have
badass.
small babies that
What
they
the
have
hell are those?
removed their brain capacity to make them little servant cherubs to fly around and give them ammunition and shit. They drop churches from low orbit.
They drop
as
churches?
mini drop pods onto battles. They drop churches into battles, and they blare war hymns and holy music from their frigates in low atmosphere and shower holy water
look at
across
those wings.
the battlefield. These are the people
looks so
who
cool.
we're dealing with, and they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They can literally stave off demons on the tabletop because their faith is that strong. Remember the warp, the demons from the warp? Well, the warp also manifests in your mind.
We
All
learned
of your
about the warp
emotions,
in
negative and
other
positive,
videos.
go through the warp. It's the immaterium, the place of all things. So if you are that mentally fortified, that mentally strong,
they can't get to you.
can stave off horrifying demons. And all these girls, not a crack. Not a crack in that mental armor. Now, as much as a meme as they are, and as much as their models look a lot like
It's badass, but that's...
Ongo the yeah, which I can't unsee anymore. I gotta say,
I could definitely see
love
that.
their design. I think they're extremely cool.
You
They're another
couldn't
army
see it
that
behind
are
me,
currently
but it's
collected.
down the
They just
video.
released a whole new line of figures very recently, and they look
so cool.
wonderful. Everything from Celestine, the living, literally undying.
Everything's just
saint
angels and
from
stuff.
The triumph of Saint Catherine, which is literally a funeral procession as a model. Those organ tanks I mentioned earlier. This shit is the most over-the-top badassery in a lot of the Warhammer universe, and goddamn it, is it over the top. But Sisters of Battle are so cool. While I'm a guardsman at heart, this is such a cool faction. By Bolter Shell, Flamer Burst, and Melta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence. So it has been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time. And speaking of burning demons...
Whoa.
I can see.
The Grey Knights.
The Grey Knights are the first army I actually collected back in 7th edition. The Grey Knights are a super
got cool
secretive
halberds.
and much more old school look at power armor
Yeah.
knights, except they are all psychers.
They look
All
like
of them
badass
have
knights.
that crazy space magic magician shit. For every 100,000 guardsmen, there's one Grey Knight. For every
so they're all
10,000 Sisters
psychers.
of Battle, there's one Grey Knight. For every 1,000 Space Marines, there's one Grey Knight. Grey Knights are the strongest of the strong, both in mental will and absolute just strength. These are Space Marines that are all high-level psychers. All of them able to
psychers.
specifically do one goal, and that is kill demons. The Emperor believed that the demons of chaos
When all the
were
demons need to be
number one
dead, you bring
threat
these
to
guys.
the Imperium, and he probably is right. However,
Can
this
demons
group
actually
is
die,
entirely
though?
based on doing that through
Or can these
a
guys
myriad
actually
of
kill them?
tactics. Coming from the planet, or I guess the moon of Titan in the Sol system, the Grey Knights are thrown through extremely rigorous training and are as clear of mind and soul as they possibly can be. Since the demons of the warp are the warp and your mind projects to the warp, people can go insane very fast, especially lower level psychers. These Grey Knights need to be able to harness
look how
the warp
badass that is.
in the presence
The
of
wrist
demons
bolter.
and stay perfectly sane. One of their characters, one of my favorite characters, is named Castellan Crow. He has a demon blade, the black blade of Mahamahama. And he has to have it on him because it tempts everyone nearby, constantly beckoning them. Use my power, use my strength, suck my penis, whatever the possibility. And so he has to keep it on him all the time as this thing whispers to him consistently, and
that
he has
would
to
be
stave it
fairly
off
grating if that's
forever,
all it
being
whispered
alone
to him
in
all
his
the time.
chambers or on the battlefield, because anyone who gets too close to it might be tempted a little too hard. He is that pure of heart and mind, and all the characters in the Grey Knights are basically like that. The only issue is that Grey Knights have a scorched earth policy, more ways than one.
Oh.
If they're fighting demons, demons corrupt and make people crazy. So if I'm a guardsman and I'm fighting demons, and the Grey Knights arrive and they kill all the demons, I'm a risk.
Yeah.
And so guess who's not making it out of there?
No.
On the tabletop, they're very strike fast, strike hard kind of people. They teleport all around the place. They are fast strike groups, small amounts of models because they're so dang strong. You only have so many characters, but with it, you get in there,
awesome.
You're very tough, very tanky, you hit really hard.
I want to see more of the Walker things in the background.
You don't have numbers, and so every dead Grey Knight hits really damn hard. They're fun, though, if you like that kind of fast-striking kind of army. Oh, and also, Caldor Drago is a thing. We're not even going to get into Caldor Drago. All right, that is, oh my goodness gracious. I am the hammer. I am the mail about his fist. I am the spear in his hand. Though we are lost, I am the shield on his arm. I am the flight of his arrows. I am the hammer. I am the sword. I am the shield. I am a soldier at the battle at the end of time. Grey Knights are pretty hardcore.
Yeah, they sound
as holy as you can get for a Space Marine. If you like Space Marines and you want to, that they're holy enough, you want to be holier, Grey Knights. Now, if you want to be holier and big, let's talk Imperial Knights.
Big.
Oh Lord, he coming!
Oh Lord.
Do you like gigantic walkers the size of homes?
Yes.
Or medium-sized buildings?
Yes.
Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them
Yes.
per turn? Do you want a gigantic, old-school knight noble house style of walkers with giant chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old-school, like, house feel to them. Like, literally, like they're houses. Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers also destroy almost everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads.
Oh, what's this
in
cinematic
a couple
from?
shots, stepping on legions of troops. Like, these things do not mess around. And they look so cool.
They do
Imperial
look so
Knights
cool.
and Chaos Knights, actually, for that matter, don't have a whole lot.
Oh,
to
there's Chaos
discuss.
versions.
They're just super big, heavy walkers, and they look different depending on your house or Chaos God you currently believe in. And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project, too. Getting more back down to earth, let's talk something about a little bit different, a little more gold.
Ooh.
If guardsmen are regular soldiers, Space Marines are super soldiers, Grey Knights are super soldiers, the Adeptus Custodians
These are the super soldiers.
Cubed. The Adeptus Custodians are the third major army I own. I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay? They are our final brand of Space Marines, but these ones are super special. Okay, if a guardsman is 6 foot, a space marine is 7 feet, a custodian is 8 feet. These
Damn,
are
that's
the
tall.
giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also Earth is Terra.
These are
Earth
the
is
Emperor's
Terra
bodyguards
themselves. These are the people that literally guard
Yeah.
the Emperor's throne room. Hence,
That's
custodians.
badass.
These boys protect the Emperor's throne room at all times.
Oh, is that why
and
they're
are
gold as
literally,
well?
handcrafted people. They're not humans brought up by a gene seer or something. These are all handcrafted super soldiers.
Oh.
I think from a tube. These behemoth of men are like 8 feet, 8.5 feet tall, and functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even the need to eat, watching over the throne room and every other area of Holy Terra
That is some
for their entire
cool
purpose in
armor.
life. And oh my lord, are they terrifying. These custodians put Space Marines to shame.
Oh, damn.
If you liked your super soldiers, these are your super mega soldiers. One of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and most likely win. There are many different
3
groups
Space
of custodians
Marines?
as well, like the Solar Watch, or there's also one of my personal favorite, the Aquilian Shield. The Aquilian Shield go out to seemingly unimportant individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance, let's say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5 foot tall
He just
golden god.
ordinary
because that
guardsman and one of
guardsman
these
will
just
end
stood
up
next to
becoming a
him.
general one day or something of that nature. The custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered, but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying, both on the tabletop as well as in the lore. There are very few of them, however, and there's actually extremely small amount
so
of them.
there's
But
not
that's
many,
kind of
but
the
they're
point.
really, really
There's
strong.
only so many of these people that can have war gear this strong,
Yeah.
weapons this powerful, and training this good. And the custodians have all 3 of it. For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within, little moved and nothing changed.
Wait,
for
so
100 years, I did not but wait. Yet had
What?
any
This
threat
guy
appeared,
waited
I
for
would have
100
struck it
years
down in a
and
heartbeat.
didn't even
For
have, like,
100
one
years, I
pee
stood
break.
my watch, and as it ends, I can tell
I mean,
you
that's
this:
that's
patience is a
pretty
weapon.
impressive.
The custodians are the top dogs of the Imperium, and they hurt just that same way. Though I do want to discuss a little bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of Silence I also have a few of, and they're really fun,
Ooh, okay.
but they don't get enough attention. These kind of bald ladies are a whole group of
Their armor does look pretty
pariahs,
sweet.
or also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on.
Blanks.
So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed heavily. Because of that mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them, you feel ill. You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past childhood, because once they are birthed, they're, well, you know, killed or something at a very young age.
Oh,
because
so like
they just emit a horrifying
they're like
aura.
soulless.
These ladies, however, are guardians of the throne as well for more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it. All of them taking a vow
So
of silence
these
as they don't speak.
sisters
hence
back
the
up the
term
custodians when there's
silence, but
psychic
they communicate
threats.
through hand gestures and things of that nature.
Well, that makes
But if
sense.
there's a demon issue, if there's any kind of warp-based problem, the sisters are extremely adept at dealing with them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with the custodians because they have to deal with both kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model for them, which is very unfortunate. I hope they'll get something new soon, because I think they should really be working together. As
We
it
need
is that
more
way in
Sisters
the
of
lore,
Silence.
but hopefully we'll get there soon. But if we're talking about blanks, let's talk assassins.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about assassins.
It's been a long video. We're about to round it
Yeah.
out. We got this and one more human thing.
Oh,
and then
we got
we're
one
done.
more.
The assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum. Oh boy, these
And
people.
that's just the
are
humans
ready.
done. We
Yeah,
still
they're
gotta do the
assassins, they
Xenos.
should be, but oh man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the, what was it called? Schola Progenium. It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something, you get sent to this and you get trained to be whatever. Tempestus Drop Troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even. Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples, because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks. Poof! The Vindicare temple.
So these guys are the snipers.
Sniper-based temple. Yeah. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins.
I love the masks.
Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there.
Remind me a bit of Sam Fisher, if anyone gets that reference.
Taking people out from literal miles away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away. Temples in the head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot, time is done, packs them up. The Calidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting.
I like that sword.
It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be. And this allows
hence the deviant art.
Body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph themselves and infiltrate areas that are problems. These assassins
so they can change their shape.
End up taking missions that take them years, 2-3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up, just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed, or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between, and lots of drawings. The Eversor Temple, just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. An Eversor is psychogenically
just kill everything.
Conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo-freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost.
Oh, Jesus, that is scary.
All this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs. And you just go to town. Yeah, if you don't care if anyone comes back alive. You're
Send
like,
one
all
of
right,
these guys.
Lost cause. Send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Caluxus Temple.
Okay.
The Caluxus assassins are feared even among the other temples. So that blank gene, the people will go to the Caluxus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They're seen with extreme fear and distrust among many, many people. They're described by the Eldar by quote as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by
like
100. If normally
anti-psyker
regular
assassins
people feel uncomfortable, now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer presence of a Caluxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person.
My brain!
The Caluxus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over being
near one of these guys.
The motto of that temple is, "That which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear." Now, for the tabletop, assassins aren't that special. You can call them in,
I mean,
no matter what.
it might be easy to collect.
You are. And they do a lot of work for
only 4
themselves,
models.
but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up ever so.
Yeah, you
want to
just
kill that
take the
one
right
guy,
tool
they
for the
care.
job.
If you have a lot of psychers, Caluxus. It's nice
Yeah,
little
these
like
are pretty
jack of all
simple.
trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now, let's talk about the last human faction.
Last
we can round
one.
this video out before we do part 2. The Inquisition. And we have a lot to talk about with them.
On the subject of heresy!
Heresy!
Where do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can think of. The KGB, the Gestapo,
Image is not found.
CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10 and give them the most power in the entire Imperium.
And really cool hats.
You know what? How about this? This right here, it's not just a quote. This is the Imperial motto, the motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing. The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their #1 motto is innocence proves nothing.
Oh,
the Inquisition
dear.
goes around like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones.
to investigate
Hereticus
different
is
things.
obvious, they deal with heretics.
That
Xenos
makes sense.
tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is
Yeah.
demons. They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines. Now,
Oh,
the Space
damn.
Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of
But
blowback.
does
but
that mean they can order
technically,
Space
they are
Marines
above
around?
them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes.
Yeah, I bet.
And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous
space
power.
detective. Yeah, that
and
makes sense.
sometimes a bit of a power complex. And we haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus. Exterminatus is deeming a planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested, and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now
Nuke it from orbit.
Exterminatus on this planet. I will
Get this
now
planet out of
sign
my
the
sight.
death warrant of an entire Imperium planet, as it is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocence proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain.
Yeah, the villain.
But most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus.
Yeah, I would hope
Exterminatus is
so.
a very crazy thing.
You would
There's
run
so
out of
many
planets.
Worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But
Cryptman.
most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option.
Definitely not gay for Celestine.
Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much.
Oh, that's
you generally
unfortunate.
kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them. And they're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well, because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of space marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story. It's not as interesting. Having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible, horrible grim darkness. And wow, we just finished the humans. All right, come back to part 2 when we talk about chaos.
Oh, we're definitely coming back for part 2.
We got to talk about the 4 chaos gods and all the chaos marine legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the orcs
and the orcs.
Oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
Okay, so yeah, that's the end of part 1 for Bricky and the end for part 2 for us. So yeah, guys, what did you think of the faction so far? I can't believe that's just the humans. That's so many factions. It's insane. But I'm really looking forward to seeing part 2, and we'll get into all the Xenos and Chaos. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you around for part 2.